Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, and this is a reminder that you shouldn't go all in on Microsoft products, I guess. And we've talked about that. We've talked about Microsoft, especially Windows 11, being potentially problematic, and now we have a huge Microsoft outage being linked to CrowdStrike. So this whole thing happened, I don't know, last night, where CrowdStrike took down a bunch of computer networks, corporate computer networks. This has come from Wired. We're going to discuss it, see if we can make sense of it. Pretty funny stuff here. Everybody's trying to figure out what the hell happened. And just a reminder that this is really kind of scary. We are so dependent on the cloud, and we're so dependent on the internet that if there was like a massive EMP that took out everything, like civilization would crumble. And we went from analog to digital in just a couple of decades, right? I'm like, maybe we should start printing everything out and putting it in folders and putting it in the filing cabinet again, just to make sure that business can continue as usual if we do have some sort of global crises that takes out the internet. But before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo from me. Woohoo. No, actually, Geeky's not here. She's not here in this video. She's out and about today. She will be back tomorrow, probably tomorrow. And I think you're going to be with her most of the weekend. I actually do some other stuff on weekends. And that's why I'm not in videos very much on the weekend. And she kind of mans the fort. So she'll be with you, I believe, all weekend. So you get lots of woohoos. Guys, if you want to support us, go out to patreon.com. If you can, if it's not down, go out to patreon.com/clownfishtv. And we're ramping up the podcasts again. And we're looking for some support because I don't trust YouTube. I don't trust that being like the sole source of what we do, our primary distribution for Clownfish TV. I think we need to branch out a little bit. I've tried doing the reef through donor box and stuff. I can't really give people updates. So I think we're going to move everything over to Patreon. It seems like they've chilled out a little bit. They got rid of that one lady that was banning people. But yeah, it's scary going all in on all this stuff. Microsoft especially. I have held off on updating most of my Microsoft machines to Windows 11. I'm still using Windows 10. And, I think I'm going to switch more of them over to Linux. But this is coming from Wired. Huge Microsoft outage is linked to CrowdStrike taking down computers around the world. A software update from cybersecurity company CrowdStrike appears to have inadvertently disrupted IT systems globally. So they said banks, airports, TV stations, healthcare organizations, hotels, and countless other businesses are all facing widespread IT outages, leaving flights grounded and causing widespread disruption. Is it really that bad out there? I literally just woke up and started recording. I heard about it, but I'm like, so far I haven't noticed anything. I mean, are planes dropping out of the sky? After Windows machines have displayed errors worldwide. In the early hours of Friday, companies in Australia running Microsoft Windows operating systems started reporting devices showing blue screens of death. Shortly after, reports of disruption started flooding in from around the world, including the UK, India, Germany, the Netherlands, and the US. TV station Sky News went offline. Wow. And U.S. Airlines, United, Delta, and American Airlines issued a global ground stop on all flights. Holy hell. The widespread Windows outages have been linked to a software update from cybersecurity giant CrowdStrike. Yeah, I did hear about that. It's not believed the issues are linked to a malicious cyber attack, cybersecurity officials say, but a misconfigured, corrupted update that CrowdStrike pushed out to its customers. That's all it takes. I mean, that's what's so crazy about this. We are so dependent on just a couple of critical nodes on the internet. What happens if Google goes down? Like, what happens if Google just blows up or something? You know what I'm saying? God forbid. I'm not talking like physically, but I'm talking like, what if all their servers melt down somehow? And everything gets lost. I mean, it's possible, I guess, right? Even though they're Google, it's possible. So there goes Gmail. There goes cloud computing. There goes YouTube. There goes people's docs, their documents, anything they have in their drives. And a lot of businesses depend on that. I know some schools are all using Google tools, the docs and emails, and businesses do. I mean, everything would just melt, wouldn't it? It would just melt. And that's all it takes. All it takes is just finding the critical node on the internet and being like, what is, if you're a hacker, where can I do the most amount of damage, right? Just, okay, so let's look around. It's like, okay, we can take out like all of these systems individually, or, hey, look, they're all using CrowdStrike. Let's just put the knife in here and see what happens. And this is what happens. Engineers from CrowdStrike posted to the company's Reddit forum that seen widespread reports of blue screens of death on Windows hosts occurring across its software, is working on the problem and has advised a workaround for impacted systems. It also issued instructions to its customers in an advisory. The incident so far appears to be impacting only devices running Windows, not other operating systems. Yeah, it's another blow against Windows, isn't it? In fact, we'll go out to Twitter and see the reaction. Mac users are all like, yeah, this is great. This is fine. Linux is fine. It's unclear exactly how widespread the issues are and how long they'll take to resolve. Microsoft and CrowdStrike did not immediately respond to Wired's request for comments. Of course not. So, God. When I think I talked about this before. I used to work for a software company, a developer that we developed software mostly for the government, mostly for the Department of Defense, and we did have consumer versions of that software, but mostly our software was for companies like the Department of Defense, Lockheed, DNX, and there's a reason people are like, why are you into UFOs? That's a whole nother issue, and it came about because of that, but. A lot of our systems were actually DOS based. I think we had an Amiga running stuff down the basement too. Like they basically just built systems upon systems upon systems. And so the infrastructure of like most of the stuff was, as I understand it, I wasn't on the IT side. I was actually on the marketing side, but as I understand it, it was a DOS based system. And then we just kept like adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. But like, it was mostly offline. So if something like this happened, we still had a whole bunch of files on the DOS machines, which is crazy. But like, yeah, this just shows like, and this after Windows recall, which there's no way in hell my work computers, I'm never going to update them to Windows 11. I'm not even going there. And this is the kind of shit I was afraid of. But yeah, it happened with CrowdStrike. Hours after the issues started to emerge, CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz issued a statement about the outages, saying the company has found a defect in an update for Windows that it issued. No shit. This is not a security incident or a cyber attack. Okay. It was a them problem. The issue has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed. But how much productivity, how much money has been lost? This is the problem with everything being connected and everybody using the same shit. It's scary. It really is scary. In the statement, Kurtz confirmed that Mac and Linux hosts are not impacted by the update and said that its customers should refer to its support portal. Microsoft spokesperson issued a statement saying it's aware of the problem linked to Windows. The company believes a resolution is forthcoming. The outages could result in millions being lost by organizations impacted who have had to halt their operations or stop business, says this cybersecurity consultant, who says the CrowdStrike update appears to be linked to its Falcon sensor product. Falcon is part of CrowdStrike security tools and can block attacks on systems. It reminds us about our, oh my God, there it is. It reminds us about our dependence on IT and software. She says, when a system has several software systems maintained by various vendors, this is equivalent to placing trust on them. Yes. They may be a single point of failure. Yeah. Like when various firms feel the impact. The outage stemming from the CrowdStrike update has had a huge knock-on impact on public services and businesses around the world. Scores of airports are facing delays and long queues. Passengers in India shared a handwritten boarding pass that they had been issued. Almost 1,400 flights have been canceled. Within healthcare and emergency services, that's pretty serious. Various medical providers around the world have reported issues with Windows. The U.S. Emergency Alert System, which issues hurricane warnings, said there have been various 911 outages in a number of states. Germany's University Hospital Schleswig-Holstein said it was canceling some non-urgent surgeries. This should be a wake-up call. Like, I am legitimately concerned about how interconnected we are via the internet and how fast it happened. And all it's going to take is taking down a critical node in the internet to just throw society into chaos. Like, this is insane. All it takes is a bad patch to blow up flight, the airline industry, healthcare, emergency services, like banks. That's all it takes. Like, you thought the pandemic was bad. You want to throw society into chaos, you just take out the internet. You hack the world. You hack the planet, baby. That's all you do. And it just throws everything into chaos, doesn't it? Isn't that scary? You should be afraid of that. Especially if the people who are running cybersecurity are as competent as the Secret Service. You should be very afraid. You should be very afraid that somebody could just come along and just toss a hand grenade into the whole system. Wow. Yeah, they said that in the UK, GP appointments and patient record systems have been impacted by the outages. One hospital has declared a critical incident after a third-party IT system it used was impacted. So does that mean somebody died because they didn't have the data they needed? Also in the country, train operators have said there are delays across the network, with multiple companies being impacted, indicating the far-reaching nature of the disruption. The organizers of the Paris Olympics, which is supposed to start next week — I forgot the Olympics were a thing — said the systems have been impacted in limited ways. Wow. They're talking about ATM machines being down. They said cybersecurity researcher Kevin Beaumont posted on X that he has seen a copy of the CrowdStrike update that was issued and said the file isn't properly formatted and causes Windows to crash every time. That's it. That fucked everything up. One file not being... I cannot wait until we all have Elon Musk's Neuralinks embedded into our brains, and somebody updates the internet, the software, the Neuralink software, with a bad version of Windows, with a bad version of whatever the operating system is, a bad file, and everybody fucking dies or starts like shooting each other or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be absolute chaos. Our dependency on technology and being interlinked is frightening. It is legitimately scary. I think we need to slow our roll a little bit, right? I think we need to walk it back a little bit. Like, I love technology. I love the internet. I love all this stuff. I love hearing and reading about new technology. But the more I see that all it takes is something this relatively simple to blow everything up, it's scary. It's really scary. Brody Nisbet, the director of Overwatch at CrowdStrike, posted on X indicating the workaround fix the company at issue involves booting up Windows machines into safe mode, finding a particular file and deleting it, and then rebooting the machine normally. God, you should be afraid. I think you really need to be afraid of this. I think we have got to stop being so dependent on technology when something like this can just throw the world into chaos. It's massive idiocy. So this is X, Windows woes, defective update stirs Mac and Linux users gloating. Yeah, so we have Mac users gloating. I used to gloat. I know when there were a bunch of viruses going around back in the day, I used to use a Mac. I have multiple Macs. I actually have multiple dead Macs in our garage. You can see like the whole progression from like the iMac, and then the lamp iMac, and then I had the blue G4 tower, and eventually about 10 years ago, I think I switched over to Windows because I'm like, what the hell? It's finally caught up, and I was using Macs mostly for graphic design. I'm like, I might as well rip the Band-Aid off, and some days I wish to God I wouldn't have done that. Brandon Butch says it's a great day to be a Mac user. Today's a good day to own a Mac. Everybody with Linux and Apple right now having the party. What is this? Apple Music misses a beat, and fans consider switching to Spotify. This guy from, this is Peter, is it Soretta from Slash Film? He says, good day, I switched to Mac. Sad day to have Mac as your work laptop. Yeah, because you still have to work. Mac users worldwide walking in the office this morning. God, that's crazy. The blue screen of death. There it is, guys. Look at this. Waking up as a Mac user. Yeah, I didn't even really know this because, like I said, our computers, they all use Windows 10. They're all running Windows 10. And I have it stripped down to just do what it needs to do. But I do not trust Windows 11, especially with recall. I did a whole podcast episode about that. You can go out and listen to it on the Derez podcast talking about it. I don't trust Windows 11, and I definitely don't after this. So there we go, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.